Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So Kabam is announcing a brand new season of Battlegrounds, and this is actually, in my opinion, quite a positive change. Uh, we also do get the Alliance event rewards buff, which we can take a look at. But first, there's very little of Kabam that they have said about it, other than the nodes. Obviously, we need to take a look at those. So victory track, it's going to be very straightforward, in my opinion. So we're going to have a buff to mutants for the first 2 weeks and in the victory track. That buff to mutants is the mutant mastery. So whenever a mutant attacker applies a debuff to the defender, they have 40% chance to gain an indefinite promise buff, increasing special attack damage by 30%. This chance increases by 20% for each debuff on the defender. These promise buffs are removed after attacker finishes a special attack. So mutants effectively are getting a damage boost. Simple as that. But that only is in play for victory track and the first 2 weeks. The final 2 weeks, we do not have an offensive tactic, which I personally prefer. Additionally, then we're going to have, for victory track, power creep. Each time the defender purifies or cleanses a debuff, they gain a charge that permanently increases their combat power rate by 3%, goes up to maximum of 20. And this is manageable with virtually anybody. Even if opponents' combat power rates increased by 60%, most of those fights are still not that bad. It's not like 300%, combat power rate increase corner node or something. So, albeit it's probably going to be noticeable if you're going to use debuff heavy champions, it's not going to be that bad. And in the victory track, you will have small tenacity. This is going to be the finicky part of it, where the opponents will have a 25% chance to purify the effect. So with that, vast majority of the champions will function slightly hindered. And that's the effect of it. You'll still be able to use just about anyone. It's just that some champions, will be less effective. Primarily the science class, obviously, because they do rely on debuffs. And at large, though, 25% chance is not that high. It's like 1 in 4. So you will still be able to run just about any champion on most of them anyway. So it is fairly open meta, which is something we have come to expect from, victory track metas. Now, in Gladiator circuit, it does get more complicated because the tenacity chance is doubled to 50%. So that already will kind of force into play champions that don't rely on debuffs or have some sort of anti-purification mechanics, which does make it significantly narrower. Obviously, ebb and flow knockdown will add to the level of difficulty to the point where you probably will not want to mess with debuff champions at all, unless you have powerful anti-purification abilities, like Bishop and Onslaught and so on and so forth, which fits with a theme of pushing mutants. And that is the first 2 weeks. It is going to be mutant heavy since we're going to get quite a few mutants. You're likely going to see, techs on defense. The big offset for those techs on defense is still probably going to be the Hulkling, probably Hercules because he hardly needs any debuffs either, and a handful of other champions. But we can expect kind of like free for all meta for most part, minus the science champions or parts of them, and added extra mutant champions. And then we have the final meta, which is arms race, which is going to be a nuke fest. That's what it's going to be. Right, so this is going to be a flat-out nuke meta, where both the attacker and defender gain a passive fury during their special attacks based on the defender's power. 1 bar of power, 25% attack, 2 bars of power, in between 1 to 2 bars of power, 75%, well above 2 bars of power, 200%. So there will be some champions who become significantly better. And especially champions who do not have attack modifiers in their base kit, but still do most of the damage with special attacks. Two of the most iconic examples for champions that benefit from this node tremendously are Kate Bishop and Longshot. Because any attack modifiers significantly increase the cold snap damage, which then in turn turns into permanent damage. And that just means that, Kate Bishop is going to be that much faster and her cold snaps will do that much more damage. Another great example here is Longshot, a champion who has 0 attack modifiers in his base kit, but if he does get any attack increase, that level 2 is that much more dangerous. Funny thing with this node as well, especially right now, given that Omega Days event has just started, in theory, this entire meta should make Corvus absolutely insane, because both the attacker and the defender will start with 1 bar of power, and then Corvus can get up to 200% attack increase for his level 2. So that should give him sizable extension in reach of his damage. So that's going to be quite interesting. And then to kind of like carry on further, as I mentioned, we have Power Start 1 and Power Start 1 Attacker. It means both champions start with the bar of power. And we also have Power Build Up 1. When the defender reaches 2 bars of power, they gain an indefinite prowess buff every 2 seconds, increasing special attack damage by 25. Now that is a fairly sizable prowess increase, of course it is. But it also yet again means that Ronan is going to be broken. Ronan's going to be in every deck. Because you start with the bar of power, which means you can stun opponent pretty much immediately. So, what you want to do is just like parry, do a combo, you probably can start your stun loop just there or almost there. And Ronan is going to be absolutely bonkers. In general, though, this entire meta is just going to be your biggest, tankiest champions, your typical suspects, your Hulklings. Hulkling's going to get to the level 2 that much quicker. As I mentioned, Longshot and Kate Bishop, both of them could be very, very, very powerful here. And Ronan, and then the rest of your nukes, which I kind of missed. That's the thing. Initially, when Battleground started, I kind of got slightly annoyed by these nothing and empty metas and these like nuke metas on a personal level. But I think Kabam took it way too far with the nodes, with the defender releases, with the offensive buffs. It kind of felt like it wasn't the difficulty that got increased. It was the fact that it felt like Battlegrounds are micromanaged. Even in this season, in this last meta, the entire set of matches got effectively decided by like 7 attackers and 7 defenders. Like, if opponent got a thing, for instance, there was a good chance you're losing that round unless you have a thing or something very, very similar to counter it. This, however, will feel much more like a free-for-all, where hopefully the drafts matter less and it's just more about, blitzing faster and better. Kind of look forward to it. Maybe by the end of it, I'm going to remind myself why I didn't like nuke metas necessarily as much. But in general, though, I absolutely do look forward to, just going crazy, taking your favorite champions in, taking in the fastest attackers, the, biggest health pools, kind of like the trickiest defenders, and just duking it out. Really do. So this is a definite shift in the mentality of the metas, I feel. And I think Battlegrounds needed that. I think it's quite obvious and clear that, for most people, there is somewhat of a Battlegrounds fatigue. A lot less people play Battlegrounds and love them. A lot of people still play Battlegrounds for the rewards, but it isn't as exciting and fun as it used to be. I hope that these metas help with that. And before I finish the video, obviously we need to double check the increase in the rewards, which is also extremely meaningful. I just wish that this increase was in the store or in the rankings more so as an alliance event. But there are significant amounts of tier 4 alpha added to the rank rewards for alliances. And, obviously it's good. The game is moving forward. We all want to rank up more champions. And that means that Battleground's focus is becoming more and more important again with these rewards buffs, which I sincerely hope my own alliance take that to heart as well and, put on some massive minimums on a personal level. I don't know if everybody agrees. Let me know what you guys think, and I will catch you guys soon. Bye-bye. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about